Okay, so this is going to be a quick tutorial on extruding faces along a curve. And this, I've showed you all how to extrude along a hand-drawn curve, and now I'm going to show you how to do that with a circle and some additional features. So here in my, let me share my screen here. So in Maya, under my Curves and Surfaces tab, I'm going to first draw a circle. So I'll zoom into the circle a little bit, maybe go into perspective mode, and then right click, kind of like we do with our polygonal objects, and then I'm going to select Control Vertex. When I do that, you can see that I have all of these like different kind of handles. These curves are, I can control the kind of path with those handles. This U here is showing me basically where the curve begins. And that's important to note because, and there are directions with curves as well. So all curves have a direction. You can reverse the direction of a curve by going up to curves and then reverse direction. But they do also have start and end points, and that's important to note, especially if we're doing extrusions. So I'm gonna use a sphere just to get a quick geometry. And I wanna align my sphere so that the face that I want to extrude, it lines up more or less with this end point or beginning point. So kind of forget which way, clockwise or counterclockwise, if you're looking down from the top. But let's just play around and see what happens. So I'm going to select a face on, just a random face on this sphere, and then I'm going to hold down Shift and then select the curve and then Control E. Control E. Yeah, so it's kind of moving, it looks like, in a counterclockwise direction. Good to know. Okay, so that being said, like this is kind of this little translation where it kind of bends in on itself is less than ideal. And there's a couple different things that I can do to kind of modify that. Namely, I'm going to start with a face that begins more or less kind of at that start point. And I'm actually going to use a face on the sphere that's coming out from this side of the sphere so that it kind of travels along in the path and doesn't kind of travels along in the direction of the face, the direction the face is normally facing. That's the normal. I'm going to undo that and I'm going to go back into my object mode and select my sphere and then hit W for my control. And then I'm going to kind of, from my top-ish view, kind of place my sphere more or less where I want the sphere to be extruded from. And then I rotate and I'll move this kind of up and down so that the curve is kind of more or less coming out from the center of the curve. Then I'm going to right click, go into my object or sorry, face mode, select that face, and then I'm going to go up here in my window to select, and I'm going to select inverse. Then I'm going to delete all the other faces. So I don't need those, I just need that one face. So I'm going to select the face, hold down Shift, select a curve, and then Control E. And if you don't have, I have my division set to 42 automatically. So if you're just getting one or it looks really weird, make sure that you've got your divisions set pretty high. So now I can see that one face is kind of curving around, right? And ending at the more or less where it began. Then I can grab my Y axis down here. You can see the Y up is up, and I can grab that and pull this extruded piece up along the Y axis. And it looks like maybe I have, let me double click this manipulator tool. Let me double select my option. Yeah, so axis orientation is world, but that was my manipulator. It doesn't look like I have options for the manipulator tool. in the same way. What I was hoping to do is like this is based on the object axis, but I think I can kind of mess around with some of these settings. So I can pull up along the Y, although it's the object Y. And then I think that local transform late Z, I can actually kind of play around with too, to kind of center it. So I might want to go into like, and then maybe grab, nope. It's hard with this, like, this multi-tool to like really see what it is you're selecting. Maybe I'll have better look. I want to grab this Y translation. There we go. Kind of move it back. And then maybe back here with a Z. And then from my top view, it looks like I've got a complete circle, but I can tell that I'm spiraling. And then from there, I can do a couple things. I can, you know, change the height of this coil. So like the height of the spring, basically, kind of up and down, but I'll need to make those same adjustments. Let me keep it as is. And then if I go back into my object mode, I can select the object and then I can do like a Shift D for duplicate and just duplicate it in place. And then I can just grab that one, the second one I made, and kind of get it pretty much lined up. And then move the Z a little bit. No, I don't want to do that. Just vertical. And then I'm going to open up the two faces, and then I'm going to bridge them. All right, so I'm going to continue, right click. I'm going to, with my object selected, I was selecting the curve down there, right click, go into face selection mode, draw a box around these faces, and then delete them. And then I'm going to select this curve, right click, face mode, delete that end face. And then I'm going to go into my right click edge mode and double click my edge here. Oh, I have to combine these now. So go back into object mode, hold down Shift, select my second spiral from my modeling toolkit, combine. Then I can go in and I can right click and go into my edge mode and double click to select the edge loop around the opening, hold down Shift, double click to select the edge loop over here. I can tell that there's like that subtle orange highlight, and then I can bridge those two. So I don't think I want to taper. What happens if I 0, 0, 0? That's fine. So it made, it did the conjoining with these kind of strange, no, they're still quads. It just kind of looks like a triangle. Is that true? Yeah. Well, it did its best guess at conjoining those two. They didn't quite line up perfectly. But there's probably ways if you wanted to go in and add edge loops and kind of make that absolutely perfect. But now you have a segment that you can kind of do the same thing for. You can duplicate. There's some really strange decisions about how to join that. I'm gonna maybe say undo the bridge. The other thing you can do if you want more control over this is weld vertices. So I'm going to go into vertex mode, see how this goes. And you can, yeah, I think that the algorithm just made its best guess, but it wasn't quite what I would have done. Yeah, so that looks a little bit better. And there's still some like, you know, micro adjustments if you wanted to go in and play around. With these kind of subtle placement of these vertices so you can kind of soften out that twist. Anywho, so that is basically how to make a coil, but also extrude along a curved surface. I hope it was useful. Okay, take care. Bye.